What you do makes a difference. And you have to decide what kind of difference you want to make. And that is a quote by Joan Goodall, who is a person that made a huge difference on this planet. So, welcome again, or welcome for the first time to the Profitable Photographer. If you haven't caught me on YouTube's, please check that out. And please, uh, what's it called? Subscribe, because then an angel gets her wings. um, or something like that. So here I am in the start of summer in San Diego, and I can't wait to chat with my guest. His name is Javon Longieliere. That's not quite the French and not quite the non-French, but
Somewhere in the middle.
yeah. So we're going to have fun today because he's got so much to share. He's an award-winning portrait and wedding photographer. He's in Valdosta, Georgia. That's my best accent. He's a master photographer, master wedding photographer, photographic craftsman, and CPP through PPA, which, if you listen at all, you know I'm a big fan of PPA and such. He spent more than 2 decades creating meaningful imagery for families and clients around the world. He was president of the Georgia Professional Photographers Association and has represented Team USA in the World Photographic Cup. So, welcome, dude. Welcome.
Hi.
Hi. Thank you for saying yes to this. I'm excited. So, let's see. So the 1 minute aha moment or whatever you want to share about how you got into this business.
Um, let's see. The quick version would be I got hurt playing tennis and needed something to make a living. And my mother was a photographer before me
Mm.
and actually was a landscape photographer. And I kind of was had been taking pictures my whole life, but not really thinking anything of it. And my wife's father said, "Hey, you're pretty good at this. You should try that for a living." And a couple of years later, we had a full-time business.
That's
It's a
amazing.
very quick aha moment.
Uh-huh. But but yeah, the fact that you always loved photography and then you were like, I need a job, and they're like, I'll just build my own job.
The
Um,
sad thing was, I wasn't even the most talented one in my house. My sister was actually very good at
mm.
photography, but she now rescues manatees.
Oh, well, that's awesome too.
Yeah, she is definitely cooler than me.
Nah, I think just from our little chat, I think you're pretty cool already. I wish you were here in person and then we'd go to lunch and we'd go, you know, do some fun things in San Diego, but maybe sometime you
That would be fun. My
somewhere.
uncle actually used to live in San Diego.
Oh,
Yeah, he had a few houses all over the world. One
wow,
of them was in San Diego.
nice, nice. All right, so in the notes, because I always ask people what their superpower is and some questions, and one of the things that you mentioned is that you love creating meaningful photography experiences that turn fleeting moments into lasting family legacies. What does that mean?
Yeah, it sounds good.
Creating. Sounds good.
It's,
I don't know. Okay, bye.
it's a good sound bite.
Yeah.
Um, uh, when when given the chance, because not every photography job that you take is always the one that you want to be doing the most. Sometimes we have to shoot to pay the bills, and sometimes we have to shoot because the client wants a certain thing. But when given the chance to really showcase me, it's definitely about the experience more than anything else. I will sit there, and I had a friend of mine who was battling cancer come in, and we spent 3 hours talking about our childhood and talking about the battle that she was facing and her kids and her family. And the whole time I'm taking pictures.
Mm.
And I did them all in black and white, and it became her cancer project.
Wow.
And I think the pictures are more meaningful when you can look at a picture and feel the story of the person.
Mm. Hmm.
Then here we are. I mean, every picture has that here we are at this moment in our lives. But to see behind all of the facades that people put up when they're taking pictures, and it's not just about the pretty smiles or something like that. I mean, she had this moment where she was telling me about um, keeping a blog of everything that was going on and about her life, and how it was really to, in case something happened, worst case scenario, her kids would have a record of kind of what she was going through in her life and everything. And she said, but some of her quote unquote so-called friends had said, she was trying to be the poster child for cancer. And she reached up and she's like, sometimes I just want to do this
Mm.
and hide from the world. And I took the picture right when she did that.
Wow.
And that one ended up, uh, oh, I entered that one into IPC, got a merit for it. So I was happy because it was different. You can't
Right.
even see her face, you just see her hands and the bald head.
Mm.
And I named it, um, It's Cancer, Not a Cry for Help,
Oh,
or
good.
not a cry for attention.
Yes.
It's been a while since I did it.
So,
So it's those kind of stories that
right,
that I really strive to create.
right, right. So, how do you create experiences for someone who's not going through a big life trauma? They're just having their daily lives. How would you say you create the experience?
Well, I'll tell you what I tell my clients when they come in. Um, there is a lot of psychology in photography. And I think, honestly, even meeting somebody new that comes into my studio that I'm getting to photograph, um, I spent 20 something years photographing weddings for people. 15 of those were shot around the world. And a lot of time, the day of the wedding was the first time I was really getting to meet the bride.
Mm,
And you have to learn to connect with somebody within seconds, so that you're not just the wedding photographer. I think there's emotional and, in some ways, physical barriers that people put up when you're just a hired help
right.
versus her saying to her friends, "Oh, Javon's here."
Mm,
There's these walls that come down, and she's able to be herself. And that's when you get people that look at her pictures and say, "Oh my God, that looks like something Jesse would have done."
mm,
Versus, "Oh, that's a pretty picture by the window."
hmm.
And I take that and all those experiences that I learned doing weddings and I apply them to when I do portraits at the same time. And it's very much just allowing myself to be vulnerable for the client so that they can be vulnerable for me, and let that guard down so I can actually capture them as they really are.
How,
Um,
how do you let yourself be vulnerable? Like, do you have an example?
um, well, I used to tell people when I was shooting weddings, situational comedy or physical comedy was a good one. If you can act like an idiot, they'll often let their guard down
Mhm.
and relax around you versus being prim and proper. It was like saying something to the bride and then walking into a wall, and getting her to laugh and getting
Yeah.
her to, it helps people relax.
Hmm.
Um, talking about I feel like talking about why we do what we do to people so that they understand that this isn't take a number and you're next in line.
Hmm.
It's I'm really interested in what your life's about. I think really helps when it comes to creating portraits because my whole business is based around from the minute they walk in the door, from the minute they have that first conversation with me to the time that they leave, it's about personal connection. It's about talking to somebody. And, um, I had big fat, for instance, I did a cap and gown session, and a cap and gown doesn't sound like a whole lot, but this client had gone back to school, gotten their master's, and they were very excited about what that meant to them. So I just related to that. And we had a very long discussion over the phone. She came in, I met her ahead of time. We talked about how much that must have meant to her and what it meant for her life and her success and her story. We went out and did her session, a cap and gown. Now, this may sound crazy, and people may think I'm crazy, but I think we photographed for about 3 or 4 hours,
Hmm.
just doing pictures of her and her cap and gown and some dresses and her medical jacket. And then she came back in for her proofing session. I do not put pictures online. I want people to experience it in person with me so we can talk about the images and share that connection of getting to see the images with them for the first time. And she's texted me probably at least once a day since then, talking about how much fun she had and how excited
Mm,
she was and how I'm a part of her life now.
I love
And
it.
yeah, you can't get that by, all right, take a number, wait over there, I'll be with you in a minute, and then when we're done, your pictures are online in a gallery.
Right. So I so am with you on that part of creating the experiences for me, and you just shared this for you too, is that experience of them seeing the photographs. And I use a projector and they come into this space and um, we hang out and I put some of them to music and that to me like that's my favorite part. I also think that clients absolutely love that. It's like when we go to a movie, we don't expect to go home with a digital link to order prints from the movie, right? We enjoy the show and it sounds like you also create it to be like a show that has value in itself. Am I on target with that?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know that I've ever put it that way, but it's a really good way of looking at it and making it make sense to me.
Hmm.
I have just always kind of felt like if I take an interest in their portraits versus just kind of like, okay, well, here's a link to your gallery, go online, and if you like any of the pictures, you can buy them. There's something cold about that.
Yes. Yes.
It's very impersonal versus
Hmm.
I know this is going to take more time out of your schedule, but I would really love it to have you come in. And of course, I explain it to them before they book.
Hmm.
I say like, I don't do online galleries, but come in, spend an hour, sometimes more with
Hmm.
me, and let's go through your pictures one by one.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about what you like and what you don't, because when I find out what you don't like, I know what not to do with you the next time you come back.
Mm. Oh, that's
I'm
good.
learning about you and you're learning about what I like. And I like when my clients are able to do that because when they're looking at pictures, a lot of times there's pictures I'm connected to
Yes.
and they may not be connected to them. And I get a chance to say, why is that? Now, I don't do it a lot of times. I've told my clients before, I said, I don't want to run your session. I said, but if I feel very strongly about an image, I am going to ask you if you pass on it, why?
Hmm.
Because I want to see what it is I've missed.
Right. And
And
sometimes,
sometimes,
uh,
yeah, go ahead, Lucy. I'm sorry.
um, so I do the same. And sometimes it's like a hair out of place or something really simple. Sometimes it's, well, he's not smiling. And then I get to say, like, if you're watching rather than listening, there's a picture, the little boy in sepia over my right shoulder,
Yes.
which that went lone. P.S. And she's like, he's not smiling. But the emotion that invokes. that, yes, we did get him sitting on in in the chair in front of the background. It was trash day, and this is my studio was a granny flat above my garage, and it has this old screen. And he wouldn't sit. He wanted to watch the trash man. So I ran and this was pre-digital. I ran and got my 35 millimeter 3200 black and white film and just clicked off what I could because he just looks so precious right there. So yeah, sometimes I need to tell them the story behind it and to remind them that a smile makes you feel one thing, but but a little different expression that's not a smile can make you feel something different every time you look at it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I had a she's a really good friend now, but she was a client then. We had done their engagement session, then we shot their wedding. And I was so in love with this picture during the reception. It was during the toast, and the groom had they were watching. It was probably her. Oh gosh, I don't remember. It might have been her dad speaking, and the groom was sitting there, and he was holding her hand and kissing on her hand, and she was crying. And I loved it so much that I went ahead and used it as my homepage before
Mm.
they'd even seen all their wedding. And she called me and she's like, Javon, you have got to take that picture down. It's like, it's a terrible picture. And I asked her, I said, okay, what is it? I said, because the weddings, I didn't change over to IPS until, oh my gosh, after I'd retired from weddings.
Mm.
Because like a lot of my clients, I would have to do it online. But with her, I said, okay, Courtney, what is it about that picture that you don't like? And it was because she was crying and her face was a little messy.
Hmm.
And I said, well, let me tell you what I like. I said, I love the fact of Dave's connection with you in this image and how tender and intimate this moment is and how it speaks to me. And you can almost feel your heart just almost breaking because of happiness just by looking at this image. And she's like, oh, okay. The next time I came over to do family portraits for them, because I used to go over and do their family portraits in their house, she had that picture hanging on her wall.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. That
And it's not something that you would get if I never took an interest. Um,
exactly. Oh, I like that.
you know,
I'm going to
so
put that
it,
in. I'm going to put that
yeah,
in capitals. Take an interest. I think if we don't take an interest, maybe we should be doing something else. What do you think about that statement?
I completely agree with you. Yeah. I mean, because otherwise you're just a number. You're just the person that had the opening that day for somebody to come in and have pictures taken.
Exactly. So, kind of the next thought on this and something that you mentioned that you love to share about is why photographers have the opportunity to change lives on a deeply personal level. And we've talked about this somewhat, but what else do you have about that? What can you share?
Mm, I know. I feel a little
So
my
how
brain fart.
how emotion and storytelling elevates portrait photography. Have we already kind of talked
Um,
about that?
well, I mean, what we're doing for our clients is they're not snapshots. It's art, and art makes you feel something.
Right.
Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. But like when I was shooting weddings, I got to create art on a day where somebody was more than likely having the best day of their lives that they would ever have. They will never feel that beautiful again. They will never feel that handsome again. They will never feel that much in love as they do that minute. They've got all their family together. I mean, how often do we get to have our families together? And you're getting to be a part of that for somebody and enhance that. And when it comes to family portraits, I don't know. I like the kind of pictures I like to do are the ones that really do tell the story of a person's soul.
Mm,
Um, I have gosh, I don't know how to start off the example, but I have a girl that started coming to me in 21. Her name is Libby, and Libby has become part of the family.
mm,
And Libby's a pageant princess.
mm,
So everything we were doing was modeling and pageants
mm,
and perfect skin, and she's stunning. I mean, she really is. But we got to a point where she and I and her family had gotten so close that there were times where she was kind of letting down that guard
mm,
of always having to be perfect. She had come in for some crowning photos. She had just won a pageant, had a crown, and
mhm,
we were doing these pictures. And there was this brief second where she stopped smiling and was just existing. And I grabbed the picture, and I have, is all the pictures I have ever loved of her. To me, that one speaks the most to me. It's also the one she hates the most.
mm.
Um, and I had this conversation with her because she's like, Javon, I hate that picture. It's so terrible. And it's just, it's a very somber picture. Um, but for me, it talks about that relationship that I built with her
Mm,
because she allowed herself to drop that guard.
yeah,
And there she was, just her, without the pageantry, without the fanciness. It was just her. She's not even looking at the camera. And that is absolutely one of my favorite pictures of her.
yeah, I totally get that.
Um,
I, f-
yeah.
I find it surprised me for a while, and then I analyzed why this was that it seemed like the most beautiful women were the least happy with the pictures compared to normal people that we capture their best angles, their most relaxed and attractive sides. And, so many people, I'm sure you've had that too, have said, these are the best photos I've ever had. And yet the ones where I'm like, oh my gosh, this was an amazing session because it's someone who is, that cut above attractive and maybe pageants or just always sort of used their beauty as currency in the world.
Hmm.
I find that they're more critical of the littlest things because of that. It'd be
Yeah.
I don't have a comparison, but maybe if I was videotaping dancers and I think, oh, this is marvelous. Oh, I know. I have an example. I photographed a woman who has stables, teaches, and had the time 4 horses. And so many of the photographs that I thought were like, this is amazing. She'd be like, Fred doesn't look happy. Like, how can you tell? So and so looks nervous. They look like they're not enjoying each other, but that's because that's the eye that she has. So, do you know what I'm talking about? Have you had that experience?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And I
so,
get that a lot from Libby too, because Libby's
sure.
always like, I don't do enough to perfect her skin, or she wants to look thinner, which I mean, she's a size zero. So, I
Yeah,
mean, it's
I
like it
know.
doesn't really get thinner. Uh,
Yeah, I know.
and she's not egotistical. I don't want to get anybody thinking that she's like that at all. She's not. She's just, I think she's just used to a certain way that the world looks at her. And I think vulnerable wasn't one of it. You
Right,
know, it wasn't part of that.
right.
But that's why that mattered so much to me because I got to see a part of her that other people don't get to see. It's funny, I just wrote a blog article for clients on the why it's still important to have professional photography in your life in the era of the cell phone.
Hmm.
Um, and just being able to disconnect from the phone long enough. Oh my gosh, I keep pointing that out to my son every time we go somewhere. I'm like, look at all these people on their phones. I said, there's four people sitting at a dinner table and every one of them's on their phone and nobody's talking to each other.
Right.
I said, but to be able to disconnect long enough to have that time with your family, to have your pictures professionally taken, as there's something significant about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's a lot better. I mean, yes, obviously the quality of cell phones is getting better, but letting someone else do it for you is even better because, like growing up, my mom was always missing from the pictures in the
Hmm.
family
Right.
because somebody had to take the pictures.
Yeah. Yeah. So to put the whipped cream and the cherry on top of this conversation, when you do cell phone, you're not having an experience. When
Right.
you have a photographer who takes the time to get to know you and to make it fun, walk into walls or trip over whatever, we do to put them at ease and help them have fun. That experience then translates into something visual that we can relive that time together. Um, I think that is the meat of this conversation, and I think that's a perfect illustration. I have a family. They own two homes, Washington D.C. area, and then here in La Jolla. And they did a session, and then 10 years later, we did another one. And some of them we mimicked some of the scenes, but we had a blast together. The kids were now teenagers, and her mom said whenever they came back to San Diego and they went to Balboa Park, they would go to all the spots that I photographed and repose themselves. So that's how much that experience meant to them. Was it wasn't just, oh, we've got the pictures, but oh yeah, over here by the reflecting pool, um, let's do that. And yeah, so what we do makes a difference is what the moral of this story is, right, Javon?
It's funny how you mentioned that because okay, so I think I told you that we do this thing at the end of the year called the Santa Experience. And we custom design these sets. We use like backgrounds as the bones of the set. Then we design the sets around like kind of the storyline of what we're doing. And we had anything that we call Santa's magical blah 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 has magical components in it that take place during it's the best way to explain it is kind of like it's an escape room with Santa Claus. They have to
Okay.
they have to do certain things to progress through the set. It's
Hmm.
not just about the pictures. And so one of my clients had come over. I don't remember what they were doing or what they were picking up, but they came over, and of course, my office sits over my studio. So, like, if you can, so right now we're in my office, which is a giant wreck. But I have this window that looks down on my
Nice.
studio, and over here is where we had Santa's magical kitchen.
Hmm.
And as the mom and the dad were up here, Cade and we get so overwhelmed by December that we usually just walk away from everything and don't come back to it until January. And um, so I'm up here with the parents. It's probably January, maybe February, and Santa's Magical Kitchen is still put together downstairs. The kid wouldn't come up. He was walking himself through the set and everything that he had done with Santa Claus. And he was remembering everything, like like he was actually starting to bake his own cookies. Uh,
Yeah. So similar
so
story that
that's
the
that's kind of what I
experience.
was getting at was like to me, it made me feel good because I come up with the ideas of the stories. So I get to scratch these
Fun.
creative itches where I have the concept, I design the set, and we have what's going to happen throughout the set with the kid. And for it to be that memorable that he remembers every little thing that they did with Santa Claus from that year, really, just to me, that's the magic.
I love it. I love it. I
Yeah,
love it. I love it. Well, we are just about out of time.
it
And
goes fast.
yeah, I know. I thought we'd get more into some of the step by step from Santa, but maybe we'll have to have another conversation soon and have you share how you do that. I'd love to know more
I'd
about
be
that.
happy to.
Yeah.
I hope I didn't take up too much time with the experiential
No,
process of portraits.
I think it's so important for people. And sure, I've had conversations similar to this, but I'm like, I preach it all the time is, be of service, build connections, um, make friends with your clients, all of that stuff. So yeah, you're
Well, I tell you that the thing that to me has, and I don't want to sound superficial, um, or or like I'm trying to do money grabs, but I went from when I retired from shooting weddings, we were shooting, I don't know, 35, 40 weddings a year at close to $10,000 a wedding. And we went from that to not doing anything. It took us several years to try and figure out what I wanted to do with my portraits or my studio, like starting all over again. And there for a while, I got caught into this loop where I would basically just sell digitals. And I was making, somebody comes in to do a proofing session. And actually, at the time, I don't even know that I was doing proofing sessions because I really hadn't bought into IPS, but I was making maybe $600 a session. Fast forward to today, cap and gown session that we did was, I think, a $4,000 sale.
Mhm.
And I feel it's because if the client feels that connection with you and how you're connecting with what you're making for them, I think in some ways that the sales can go up because all of a sudden they're now even more emotionally tied into the images that were created.
Mhm.
And so my sales average has gone up. So
Sure.
instead of $600 on average a sales session, I'm closer to $2,000 on average a sales session. And again, I don't want to make it sound like I'm in a money grab, but
You've
it's
got to make a
definitely
living
helped.
now, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. No, that's the thing. Is like the landlord likes his rent money. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
So I just had a thought I never thought before, and I'm going to share this thought. I think our clients like to reward us for everything we've done for them. I never thought about that, I know that they've enjoyed the experience, they love the photographs. I have a sales system where uh, most of my clients purchase 3 to 7 wall portraits. And I never thought about until this minute that the little X factor is them feeling good about giving us money, rewarding us for everything we've done for them and for who we are and our commitment to our craft and the relationship. So when some people feel a little guilty, and I've heard a little hesitation with you about, I'm not a money grabber, but people like to give money to people that are of service. And so, yeah, all the things, all of that. I love it. So, okay, so we're just about out of time, and so I have 2 questions for you. One, I know that you have a PDF you would love to share called Getting Started with the Santa Experience. And so, how do they find this?
So it's on my website. It is www.longieliere.com/Lucy, Luci.
Great.
Not that I probably have to explain that to your followers. What they'll need help with is the Longieliere part. Um, So, and
L-O-N-G. Here, I'm going to do it. Longieliere.
yeah, if you do it to the Mickey Mouse theme song, if for those of us that are old enough to remember the old Mickey Mouse theme song,
Longieliere.
yeah, Longieliere.
Oh, okay, good. I just have to remember the the Mickey Mouse song. All right. So I'm going to give you the opportunity for just a closing thought, or something that you might be like, oh man, I wish I had mentioned this part. So just a little something to leave us with.
Um, that's that would probably be more of a reiteration of just don't be afraid to connect with your client.
Got it.
Um, it just be vulnerable. They're there doing something that they're not used to. Most people are not used to having their picture taken, and it can be a very um, almost like an undressing experience in front of you.
Hmm.
And the more that we can connect to them, the more comfortable they'll be, and the more they'll show you who they really are. And I think that that is such an important part of our job is the psychology behind the photography.
I totally agree with you. Thank you so much for saying yes. And yeah, come visit me. I want to hang out with you.
Yeah, I would love that.
Yeah. And everybody, hang on. I don't think I can fully wrap up, but at least I'll try to give you just a little wrap up after I say goodbye to Javon. So thank you for being on the show.
Thanks. I had a good time.
Oh my gosh. I just love being a podcaster and making new friends. Javon is we chatted for an hour after. Or it seems like it. Yeah. Just a super nice man, and I hope maybe someday we can hang out together. Anyway, what would my wrap up be? Basically just that we can create experiences for our clients that add value far beyond the photography. And the financial rewards can be great when we do that, because when we're putting all that personal energy and creativity and helping our clients feel comfortable, connecting with them, um, people want to work with us. People want to buy from us. That's my opinion. So that's really, I didn't have a step-by-step point one, two, or three, but just great things to think about. And again, please subscribe wherever you get your podcast or the YouTubies. And I'll talk to you later.